Hello everybody and welcome back to another Rockabilly guitar lesson. Some time ago when I published the Buddy Holly special, I also promised you to bring you a Blue Days Black Nights video one day, and today is the day. Blue Days Black Nights was recorded in January 1956 at Bradley's Barn in Nashville, Tennessee, and became later Buddy's first single for Decca Records. And he just bought his famous Stratocaster prior to the recording, and then he had to hand it over to Sonny Curtis because Owen Bradley, the producer, didn't want Buddy to play lead guitar or rhythm guitar for that matter, because he was afraid it could interfere with his singing or bleed into the other mics and all that stuff. So you can hear Grady Martin in the background very quietly playing acoustic guitar on this song. It wasn't a big success back then, but now it's an all-time rockabilly classic, I think, and one of my all-time favorites by Buddy. I really love Sonny Curtis's lead guitar work. So I show you how to play the intro and also the solo. At first I want to say thank you for everybody who is supporting me here through watching, liking, commenting, sharing, all that kind of stuff on YouTube. And I'm quite overwhelmed by requests right now. Yeah? This YouTube channel got much bigger than I ever expected to be. So I was thinking about how I could do more videos because I'm working as a local teacher here in Germany, and then on the weekends I do some gigs, so you can imagine there's not too much time left. On average it takes me about 10 hours to produce a video. Listening to the song, then transcribing it, learning the actual solo, recording the jam tracks, the video editing, uploading, all that stuff together takes a lot of time, as you can imagine. So, but I really enjoy doing it, so I want to do more and maybe less local teaching work, because if I could decide between doing a rockabilly guitar lesson and showing somebody how to play Knockin' on Heaven's Door for the 100th time, well, the choice is pretty easy to make. And at the end of the day it comes down to making some money with the videos so I can make it worthwhile. And then a friend of mine suggested to sign up on Patreon, and that's what I did. And I think it's a great opportunity for you to support me there, and for just $5 a month you'll have access to all the tabs and jam tracks for at least 2 videos a month from now on. And for the first 20 people who sign up, I will also supply a link to MP3s, recordings by Randy Rich and the Poor Boys and the Sun and Lightning Show, which were only available on vinyl till now. So I hope this all makes sense, and without any further talking, let's get right to the lesson you're all waiting for. The intro to Blue Days Black Nights starts with a pickup run on the low E string that goes like this. So you play open E, 2nd fret and 4th fret, and I make sure to place my hand on the bass strings all the way through the finger picking part in the intro and in the solo as well. So I'm putting my hand right behind the bridge on the strings here to get this percussive sound, on the low E string, the A string and the D string as well. So then after the pickup run we play an A chord, F shape here, 5th fret, and with my thumb I alternate between the A and the D string for the bass rhythm, like this. And then with my fingers I pick out the melody. And by the way, you can use a flat pick as well, so then you have one finger less, of course, to use for the melody, but I think that's what Sonny Curtis did as well. I'm just so used to a thumb pick, that's why I like to use it for this solo as well. It's just more comfortable for me. This is our first melody here. So once again in the bass, A and D string alternating, and then for the high strings I play the E string and then the B string. And if you count with it, it's like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then we move to an E7, which I grab like this with my thumb around the neck on the 7th fret, E and A string. Then the index has the 6th fret of the D string, and the ring finger has to take the 7th fret of the G, B, and E string. This is an E9 chord, and I see people do it this way as well, with the middle finger on the A string. So once again, in the bass, you get the tick-tock sound here, alternating between the A and D string. And in the melody, I'll pick the E and B string like this. Yeah, E, B, and back to the E string. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Then the same rhythm for the next chord, which is also an A chord but C shape here on the 9th fret. So you have 9, 10, 9, 11, and with the index barred over the top 3 strings, and the middle finger on the 10th fret and the ring finger on the 11th fret of the D string. So the same rhythm as before. Same rhythm for the following D chord. And this is just a regular D chord, F shape on the 10th fret. So what we got so far is this. Then back to our F shape, A chord. Just 2 notes in the melody, E and B string. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Then I move my ring finger to the 6th fret of the D string. And for the following E chord, which I don't really grab, but I play the bass this time on the E and D string. Like this. And then in the melody I use my index for the 4th fret and my pinky for the 7th fret for the following melody. So you play open E string, 4th fret, 7th fret, and then it goes back to A. One more time this part here. And all the high notes are on the upbeats, yeah? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Back to A. And this melody is a little bit more complicated, played over 2 bars of A. You have a hammer on here on the G string from the index to the middle finger. 1, 2, and 3. B string, and then E, B, and E at the end. One more time, this last part. So then we put the whole intro together and play it slowly. The solo is pretty long, but it's not too much to learn because there's one part that repeats 3 times, so not too bad, don't worry. You start here on the B and E string, 9th and 8th fret, and the first phrase goes like this. So you pick the B string first, followed by the E string, 9th and 8th fret. And I use my pick for the B string and my finger for the E string. You can pick both, you know, whatever you like, but I really love the sound that I get this way. Then you move up a half step, you know, 1 fret to the 9th and 10th fret, then down again, and with a slide back up. So we get this. Then to 10 and 12, E and B string, down again and with a slide back up. And then you pick 12 and 14. One more time, this whole first part here. Then you move back down to 10 and 12, and you pick the B string again before the E string. Then you slide to 12 and 14. So it sounds like this. Pick 12 and 14 and slide into 14 and 15. I have to do it together. And make sure you want to play this as legato as possible, with the slides from one chord into another. It's not so easy. Then back to 12 and 14, B string first, 12 and 10, and 9 and 10, and then you slide to the 5th fret on the B string and play the open E string as well. One more time this last part, starting here. And here's the whole first part. And then you play the 5th fret 3 times with a slide from the 4th to the 5th on the B string, always with a E string as well. And then it goes to a little finger picking part on the F shape that we had already in the intro. So in the bass it's exactly the same that you played in the intro, alternating between A and D string. But in the melody you use the pinky for the 7th fret on the B string. Here. And then at the end you just take it off again. One more time. So on the high strings you play E, B with your pinky, E, B, E, and the last note is on the B string, 5th fret, that you covered with your index. Then back to the first part, the first section basically, where you play So in the bass you play exactly the same as in the intro, alternating between the A and the D string. And for the melody you will use the pinky on the 7th fret of the B string. So you play E, B, 7th fret with your pinky, E, B, E, and then the last note in the melody is the B string, 5th fret, that is covered by the index. Then you basically play the first section again, which you learned already. Oh, it's very convenient. Back to the second finger picking part, which is very similar here on the A chord as the first one. You just leave out the last note on B. So it sounds like this. One more time. And then you slide into a D chord, F shape, 10th fret. And you want to pick the G string right around when you're here with your middle finger on the 10th fret, G string. Let me show you what I mean. One more time. And this time I used the pinky on the 12th fret E string for the entire part played over the D chord. So this is what you play here over the D chord. Play the G string first, B, E, E, B, E, B. In the bass, once again, just the A and the D string. Back to the A chord, F shape, 5th fret. Once again, starting with a G string on the 6th fret this time, which is already covered by the chord here as part of the chord. Then the E string, and then you play the 8th fret of the B string. You grab it with your pinky, and this gives you an A7. And then the B string, 5th fret. Then a hammer on from 5th to 6th fret, from index to middle finger. And you just want to land on the 6th fret when you pick the A string in the bass. And then the same here in the melody, E string, 8th fret, 5th fret, B string. Let me play this whole part over A here. Back to D with a slide again when you can. Oops. Pinky. And once again, to finish this section off. Let me play the whole part here, the whole second finger picking part, starting with A. Then it goes back to the first section that you know very well by now, but you start with a pickup. That is 5th and 7th fret E and B string, then 7 and 9, and then you're back to 9 and 10, A chord. And back to the last finger picking part. which is just like the first one in the solo. So here's the whole solo slowly.